Hari Om. No talking now, please. The camera has started as well. As most of you know, my name is Atul, Mandir se, and this is our regular meeting talk we do first Saturday of the month. So today's topic is a sense of Gita. I will come back to it. Before I invite our guest, I would like to invite Panditji to light the diya, and please तालियां हो जाएं. It's a big thing. Panditji is the highest post in our in the temple. Okay, Manish, could you say a few words and then I'll start.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for calling. So, everyone know we are following Sanatan religious thing. So, if you are starting anything, you should start from the Ganesh thing. So, I'm chanting Ganesh mantra, so you can also chant. Om Shree Ganeshaya Namah Vigneshwaraya Varidaya Surapriyaya Lambodaraya Sakalaya Jagadhataya Nagananaya Sutiyagya Vibhusitaya Gauri Sutaya Gadanathe Namo Namaste Gauri Sutaya Gadanathe Namo Namaste Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvighnam Kurame Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. So I think we can chant 3 times Omkar mantra. So you can
Before I introduce Hanuman Dasji, I would like to call Kiranatri Aunty, who is one of the coordinator of our this group that we do. We got Vijay and Smita is not here, so.
Jai everybody, and I welcome you all to this group. I can see some really good number today. We have been started this group in January. Our group leader mainly is Indrajit Salwanji, who is doing in Leicester. He has been starting this group for last 40 years. And somehow, Atul said, Auntie Ji, you were starting this group. I said, okay, I will try my best. So we have delivered 11 talks so far. I just read over to you. Introduction regarding Hindu religion study group and Sanatan Hindu Dharma, which was delivered by Indrajit Salwanji himself. And second one was respect for parents and elders in the family and community, which was delivered by Gopal Adaji. 5th of March, what makes a good human being? Atul Agarwal. And 2nd of April, Atul Agarwal was president as well. And I can't say Atul Agarwal, it's very difficult for me to say. I just said Atul. 2nd of April was role of a woman in a Hindu family, Vibha. This was a very good talk, and I think people who missed it, they don't know what is being missed. You have witnessed that. That was a very, very
it was
good
amazing.
talk.
It's still on the video.
Yeah, and we did give a standing ovation. It was really, really good. And 14th of May, Need of a Guru, which was delivered by Pandit Bimal Mishra ji. It was again very good talk. 4th of June, Sanatan Hindu Philosophy, Gopal Ariji again. He is a very good speaker, and he is saying, wherever you stuck, I will step in, and the same is with Atul. 2nd of July, Salvation Through Bhakti. This was delivered by Vandana Day. And 6th of August was Suresh Ji, Hinduism and Science. Unfortunately, we didn't have any talk in September. And again, on the 1st of October, Vegetarianism, again by Gopal Ariji. 5th of November, Hindu Ethics. This was delivered by Indrajit Savanji. 3rd of December, Lord Rama, an excellent son, husband and a king. That was a very big topic. The speaker said she wants to deliver in 2 parts. The speaker was Vibha. And now today's is essential message of the Gita, which will be Hanuman Das ji. Before I pass it on to Hanuman Das ji, I will pass it on to Atul. And I think I have not missed any of this session, and I don't know how people will feel, because I have learned quite a lot out of these 11 talks. And now I pass it on to Atul.
I'm still learning. It's amazing really how people have committed to this group. We are, like we were talking to Hanumanji, that we are small in number, but we are a very strong community here in the Dudley. Okay, Hari Om, Jai Mata Ki, Jai Shri Krishna. This group is Go Dharmik. What do we really understand by Dharma? What does it really mean? ईश्वरीय श्रद्धा व पूजा, पाठ, ईश्वरीय उपासना, आराधना, लौकिक एवं सामाजिक कर्तव्य, ड्यूटी, virtue, integrity or moral values, a moral or legal obligation or responsibility. These are dictionary definitions. However, in Hindu Dharma, according to Shree Gita ji, कर्मण्य वाधिकारस्ते मां फलेषु कदाचन मां कर्म फल हेतु धर्मा ते संगोस्तत्व कर्मणि, यानी कि हमारा कर्म ही अधिकार है, कर्म पर ही अधिकार है, फल पर नहीं. And this is what the Go Dharmik is saying, just to go towards the dharma, do your duty. कर्म किए जा फल की इच्छा मत कर ए इंसान, जैसे कर्म करेगा वैसा फल देगा भगवान. ये है गीता का ज्ञान, ये है गीता का ज्ञान. Sticking nicely to our today's topic, the essential message of Shri Gita. Before I pass it on to today's speaker Hanuman Prasad ji, I am going to brief you with a very little introduction of his karma. So, who is he? What does he do? I do have very little information. I did ask Savanji to help me, but internet is nowadays is very, very kind to us, so we get a little bit. Hanuman Prasad ji is a chairperson, chairman, and a founder of this wonderful organization, Go Dharmik UK. You may remember I mentioned this organization in many of my previous kathas, including last Shri Satyanarayana Katha. When I don't know whether you remember this, when we were raising money for India, oxygen and concentrators, and we had 3 choices, you remember that, and Red Cross, which was suggested by the Indian Embassy, and Khalsa Aid, which was very popular, and Go Dharmik, which wasn't very popular because we don't know much about it. I think this is it. As Hindus, I think, Hanumanji, I think we were talking about this. We don't like to talk about ourselves. And this is the Go Dharmik. And doing is, I think Hanumanji will tell us more. It won't be very good for me to tell. When I asked Savanji from Northampton, he said Go Dharmik is a grassroots charity based on love and compassion, led by Hanuman Das. He continued that it started 11 years ago with 50 bananas being distributed. You all have seen the flyer we have made, where I included his vision: love all, feed all, serve all. Inspire compassion in action and selfless service around the world. At this point, I would like to invite the main man himself. Shall we call him with a big round of applause, Mr. Hanuman Prasad ji.
Namaste. Am I audible? Is everybody hearing me okay? Great. Thank you for the opportunity to join you all. I feel like there are so many smarter people in the room than me to talk about Gita today. Coming from Vrindavan and so many senior people, Hinduism study groups, and Atulji's knowledge already, is very clear. But I was inspired by somebody called Ramdas. And Ramdas was one of the leading professors at Harvard University. And his name was Richard Alpert. He was looking after multiple offices, huge departments in psychology at Harvard. And one of the quotes really struck me about 15 years ago, that he said, India has the maps of consciousness that the world needs, that can heal the world. And he said at Harvard, that the height of education in the world, at Harvard University, we are all just neurotic as each other. So although we're teaching people about psychology, actually we're not happy ourselves. And India has maps for the world, which can raise our consciousness, raise our understanding. And that really inspired me. Because in my life up until that moment, everything was about Western life. Growing up in England, and there was no real interest in reading the Gita or studying Hinduism or practicing or visiting the temple even. But something about what Ramdas said really struck me. And I said, if we're hearing this from somebody at the top of Harvard University, surely we should take it seriously. And we can learn something from that, or we can grow. There's something about our own happiness. So today, I would like to walk through the Gita, through 18 verses. And I've selected one verse from each of the chapters of the Gita to share today. And if you think about, who am I to teach the Gita? But I consider Gita is Krishna. So there's no need for me to teach the Gita. Krishna will teach it himself. If we recite the verses, if we read the verses. So whoever is meant to be here today, we'll recite some of these verses together. We'll share some of them and have a very intimate walkthrough of some of those verses. Of course, Gita, 700 verses, we can spend 1 hour, 2 hours, even 1 day studying one verse at a time. So maybe 700 days is not enough to read Gita, let alone a short session like this. But we'll walk through some of those important verses that I've selected today. And some of them I would really love if we can recite them together. Some of them we can chant in the Sanskrit, some of them we can just walk through for the interest of time in English. But it would be nice to recite some of them together. So I will start with the very first words of the Gita. And the verse, and maybe we can repeat after me. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre
Dharam kshetre kurukshetre
Samaveta yuyutsavaha
Samaveta yutsava
Mamaka pandavasteva
Mamaka
Kim kurvata sanjaya.
Sanjaya.
This is such a powerful verse. I would love to recite it again. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre
Dharam kshetre kurukshetre
Samaveta yuyutsava
Samaveta yutsava
Mamaka pandavasteva
Mamaka pandavasteva
Kim kurvata sanjaya.
Kim kurvata sanjaya.
Now the truth of the Gita is hidden in this verse. Right at the first verse, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. The field of Dharma is the field of life. Throughout the Gita there's a theme which says, you don't need to go away to the mountains and become a sannyasi or a monk and give up the world. What Krishna's essential message here is that the field of Dharma is your very life. This battlefield of life is where Dharma plays out. And it is a battle between Dharma and Adharma that we need to face in every single decision we make. Like in the Katha Upanishad, where there's the words Shreyas or Preyas. Do we consider the pleasurable actions in life, or do we walk through and choose right action, the dharmic choice? And for me, that's all Godharmic means. It's about being a better human being, realizing the human potential of who we are. There is a wonderful psychologist and writer called Daniel Goleman, again a Harvard professor. He's a leading authority on something called emotional intelligence. And in emotional intelligence, Harvard now says is more important than IQ. So EI is more important than IQ. How emotionally intelligent are we? How kind are we? Compassionate? Friendly? How do we care about our staff or our seniors? How do we care about our families and friends? That actually will show you more successful than how good your IQ is. Because you can have a wonderful IQ, but if you're a horrible human being, you won't grow into anything. So I think EI is really wonderful. And one thing I would share is that when Daniel Goleman first met my Guru Neem Karoli Baba in the 60s, he said from his meeting with Maharaji that I clearly felt that Western psychology has missed something. He said, here was a being who loved me so much. As soon as I came to him, he offered me some food, have some tea. It's cold in the Himalayas. Would you like a blanket? Would you like some? That love was so heart-pouring, kind, that God is guest, hospitality, love. And he felt we've missed something about human potential. So then he started this journey of EI, which now Harvard preaches in its own language. But it comes from there. It comes from the prasad and love of ashrams in the Himalayas. So I'm moving on to the second chapter. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kutasva Kasmalamidam Vishami Samupastitam Anaryajushtamasvadyam Akirtikaram Arjuna. Arjuna, how has such faint-heartedness come upon you? It does not befit a person of your character, nor does it lead to heaven. Krishna is saying in Swami Vivekananda's words, arise, awake, and do not stop until your goal is reached. You have a job here, you have a duty, you have your dharma to fulfill, to win this war in battle. And I love that message of Krishna has the same essence of Swami Vivekananda, that energy, that passion, that desire to serve and love, and he's telling Arjuna here. And it's worth noting that very rarely in the Gita does Sri Krishna use Arjuna's name. He calls him Parth, Buddhakeshu, he will use different terms for it. Here he says, Arjuna, arise, awake, be serious. Just like Swami Vivekananda is urging, in such a short life what we can achieve. So here, I think studying is wonderful. We're reading Gita. But that's of no use if we don't do something. This is not something just to enjoy the study of it. It's something we must do, we must share, we must go. So if you see our organization Go Dharmic, we always put go first, Dharma second. What are we going to do? If it's Joshimat, go there and do some seva. If it's Pakistan floods today, the people are still working in Pakistan doing seva. Ukraine, Russia, volunteers serving in different places. Serve like Hanumanji. Maharaji always said this, serve like Hanuman. Go there. Hanumanji didn't wait to get a medical degree and then go to Himalayas. He just flew there, picked up the entire mountain and brought it back. And even Bible says that words. if you have faith, you can move mountains. That is Hanumanji's spirit, moving mountains. So we must be extremely energetic in our service. And this verse for me, Swami Vivekananda's words, arise, awake, and do not stop until the goal is reached. We move on. By action alone, King Janaka and others attained perfection. Considering the welfare of the world, you must perform your duties. Considering the welfare of the world, the word I've highlighted is Loka Sangram. Serving, working for the welfare of the world. That is Dharma. Krishna says in Mahabharata so many times that Dharma is working for the welfare of the world. If that's your goal, if that's what drives us, then that is the true Dharma of Sanatana Dharma that we speak of. It's interesting that he refers to King Janaka as well. Not a sannyasi or somebody like Narada Muni. He chooses Janaka, who's a king in the world, living in the world. So that further example of us here, living in Britain, how can we express Sanatana Dharma? It's very possible. We don't have to be too busy. It's through our work, it's through our life, it's through our actions. So we're moving through very quickly into chapter 4 now. And the verse I've chosen from chapter 4 is a verse which I chant every day whenever we consume some food. This is chapter 4, verse 24. And Ramdas taught me this mantra as a way of purifying and spiritualizing our food, our practice of that. So when we have the Vedic yajna, or we are performing a sacrifice ceremony, we are doing that, and then maybe we can go and eat our food. But every time we consume food, maybe 3 times a day, we can perform yajna. And it's just by reciting this verse. So many traditions in India do recite this verse before consuming food. And I think it's a way that it's not just that we should gorge on our food or eat very, quickly and aggressively and, digest the food. We can turn that food into a mindful meditation practice, spiritualizing the food, making it an offering to God. And then how the spoon in this verse. So maybe we can recite together. Brahma Panam,
Brahma
Brahma Have,
Brahma
Brahmagno, Brahmanahutam, Brahmevate Nagantavyam, Brahmakarma Samadhina. Wonderful. The act of the offering is Brahman. The sacrificial oblation is Brahman. It goes into the fire of Brahman, poured by Brahman, and is offered to Brahman. One who understands the ritual in this way achieves Brahman. Sabek, it's all one. Even the spoon is God. The food on the spoon is God. The fire, digestive system is God. That we're pouring the ladle of the offering. It's being offered for God. My body and this whole vehicle is for serving God. And we are all part of God. Just imagine if we eat our food in that way and we make our spiritual this first. And chapter 4 is very much about knowledge. So this knowledge of Brahman is 424. We can encourage our family members, our children, students, friends, that before we consume the food, we can chant this 424. Very powerful verse. Many people will say grace before a meal in other traditions. They will hold hands or say a prayer and then they will eat. This is different. This is not grace. Because grace is saying a prayer, thank you for the food. This is saying this whole process of the food is going to become spiritual practice. It becomes a sadhana. So we don't have to go to yoga studio or somewhere else to practice yoga. Just eat the meal and it becomes yoga. The wise see with equal vision. A learned and gentle person, a brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and even the one who eats the dog. Equal vision. Sabek again. See everybody equal. Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Sikh, Jain, white, blue, orange, green. Sanatana Dharma sees everybody equal. Love everyone. Feed everyone. Serve everyone. See no difference. Maharaji always used to tell people this. It is, we should treat everybody equally. Love everyone the same. No matter how they are, who they are, where they come from. Especially when people used to come to the ashram, everybody would be fed prasad. Given tea, given food, loved. They've come to see Hanuman at the ashram. We should love them. Now moving to chapter 5. Again, each of these verses we could speak for an hour. But in our fast lives, maybe some people don't even have 30 minutes to speak for. I actually do this practice online where I share a Gita verse and talk about it for 1.5 minutes. Because people's capacity to digest now is getting less and less and less. So however we can serve people with that. Ramdas said some words to me. I will give you my everything. And I was like, wow, you are a Harvard scholar, you have been with Neem Karoli Baba, the whole world wants your attention, such a wonderful being, such a great saintly being. And you're saying you will give me everything? And then I thought, if he is giving me everything, whoever comes in front of us, I have to give them everything. 100% of my soul, my presence, my love, compassion. See everybody equal. In chapter 6, chapter Dhyana Yoga, the mind has been conquered, becomes a friend. But for one who has failed to control his mind, it becomes his worst enemy. So if we can calm our mind with meditation practice, with Ram Nam, Jap, with worship in temple, practicing spiritual practice, then today mental health issues one of the biggest concerns in this country and around the world, around Western world in particular, and also in India. Very big mental health problem. And it comes from a mind that's too busy, that's too chasing every direction. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, we know that it says in there, Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. When the mind is calmed, we achieve yoga. So yoga is union with God, togetherness with God. We need to calm the mind, and we need to. The greatest gift I believe we can give to another person is a sense of peace, presence, and calm mind. I'll move to chapter 7. And if you could recite after me. Mata Haparataram Na Anya Kinchit Asti Dhananjaya Mai Sarvam Idam Protram Sutra Manidanaiva. There is nothing superior to me. The whole world is bound to me like jewels on a thread. So if you manage a nice necklace, a lot of the aunties in the room may have some nice necklace with jewels or gold or some items on it, but underneath that necklace is a string. Krishna is the string, God is the string, Brahman is the string that's holding it all together. Not necessarily only up in the clouds God is there, right here within us, in every particle and atom of the universe. And that holding us all together as living beings. Krishna is saying, I am that.
Excuse me, if you can speak a little bit in Hindi, few words, it would be great.
In Hindi?
If little bit, not all.
I'll try. I don't think I can, but
If you can, please.
I am easily attained by that yoga. I am easily attained by that yogi who is ever disciplined, and whoever steadily remembers me with a pure heart. So Krishna is saying, which person can achieve me, my state? Who can be with me? One is a person who maintains spiritual discipline. And second, has a good heart. These two factors. I am equal to all. I hate nobody. I am partial to no one. But for those who worship me with love, they live in me and I live in them. God is everywhere, we know. We know all beings. But the person who has bhakti, spiritual heart, who lives with love, they are living with God's presence. And God is living with their presence. If we ignore that, obviously God is everywhere, but not everybody realizes that God is everywhere. And that way to realize that is through love. Krishna is sharing in chapter 9. In verse 10:23 of chapter 10, of Rudras, I am Shiva. Among Yakshas and Rakshas, I am Kubera. Of Vasus, I am fire. And of mountain peaks, I am Meru. Krishna is saying in this verse that I am Shiva. So there's one story where Arjuna gives some shoes to Krishna before leaving for the Himalayas to do tapasya, to get some weapons from Lord Shiva. And the shoes he gives to Sri Krishna, when he reaches the Himalayas, he finds the same shoes in Mount Kailash, at the bottom of the Mount Kailash. And he's shocked and surprised. These are Sri Krishna's shoes. What are they doing here in the Himalayas? And a voice appears. One who worships Krishna worships Shiva. One who worships Shiva worships Krishna. All is one. It's a beautiful idea. From chapter 11. If 1,000 suns at once rose into the sky, their brilliance still could not outshine the radiance of Sri Krishna, of the Lord. If 1,000 suns in the sky, that radiance could not show the radiance and brightness and love and warmth of Sri Krishna. And the sun is always shining. It's us who see the clouds. So God is always there. And this is the important thing that we need to realize, is that when we are negativity, when we are living in a depression, we are in the shade, but the sun is always shining. And through satsang, through practice of spiritual practice, and most importantly through seva, from helping others, love for other beings, like the main work which we do is seva. When we see God in other living beings, then we can realize that's the true warmth. Chapter 12 is Bhakti Yoga. O Arjuna, for those who have dedicated their actions to me, who meditate on me with undivided attention, and whose minds dwell on me, I deliver them from the ocean of repeated birth and death. So from this cycle of life, if we dedicate all our actions to God, many people ask me, your name is Hemal, why do you use this name Hanuman Das? This is spiritual practice. Das means this is all service of Hanumanji. This is all God's service. So in that way, everything becomes spiritualized and offered to God. We are doing nothing. No credit for us. It's only in His service. The most we can hope for is to become a spoon for that prasad, and God's prasad distribution. One day at the ashram in Kenchi Dam in the Himalayas, a businessman came to the temple and he said, I want to do the bandara, I want to distribute food, Hanumanji's Prasad. And Maharaji said, we don't normally do this, but okay, if you want to give, you can give. So that businessman took the big box of laddus and he wanted to distribute it at the temple. Many of the devotees were confused. They said, Maharaji, why you don't normally allow people to just come and do bandara? Why are you doing today? And this businessman was quite stingy with the prasad distribution. He would give one laddu to one kid and then he said, oh, you already came so you can't have another one. Move away. And then he was very protective over them. And these groups already come, you move away or something like that. It wasn't a loving distribution. And then afterwards, one of the devotees came to Maharaji and asked him, why did you allow this businessman to come and do bandara like this? This is very strange. And he said, I wanted to show everybody that it's not easy to distribute Hanumanji's prasad. It's not easy. Once you have offered that to Maharaji, to Hanumanji, it's no longer yours. Hanumanji does the distribution. Whoever is meant to come and take that food is meant to come. And we must serve them with love and kindness. So that level of bhakti distribution is not us as the doer. Allow us to become the spoon. And I think this is what Sri Krishna is sharing here in Bhakti Yoga chapter. Now we're in chapter 13, and Sri Krishna lists some principles in verse 7 about how we can live our life, about principles to live by. Wonderful ideas. How should we live in Devi Sampad? That how do we live a sattvic or a positive existence? So I'm just going to read out a list of some of those. Modesty, sincerity, non-violence, patience, straightforwardness, being straightforward, not trying to go around the bushes or change things or lie, not white lies, honesty, service to the teacher, service to our teachers, purity, firmness and resolve, self-control, detachment, non-egotism. These are wonderful ideas that we can take forward from Gita. Now we move into chapter 14 of Gita. Knowledge arises from sattva. Intense longing develops from rajas, while madness, delusion, and ignorance arise from tamas. So, sattvic activities, if we practice, can allow us to grow, can have knowledge. Rajasic activities where we are too selfish, too driven for money or greed or attachment for this kind of thing, for the wrong purposes or just for greedy reasons, will develop anger and suffering. And tamasic practice will only make us ignorant or lazy, asleep. So much of the Gita is around becoming a sattvic human being. Chapter 16, about Devi Sampad. O descendant of Bharata, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, steadiness in the discipline of knowledge, charity, religious study, sacrifice, austerity, non-violence, truth, freedom from anger, akrodha, peace, freedom from fault finding. Don't find faults in others. I love this method that somebody once taught me. They said, if I have something bad to say, I will tell it to them privately. And if I have something good to say, I will tell them publicly. That we can show positivity and light. Because human beings are like a flower. That flower, if you put it in the shade, will fall down and die. It needs the sunlight. Similarly, we need positivity. That positivity is our light. And we need to create sattvic environment for real growth. Otherwise, we will also wilt like the flower. Compassion towards other living beings. Absence of greed. Gentleness, modesty, steadiness, vigor, patience, fortitude, absence of malice, freedom from pride. These are the blessings of Devi Sampad. When we practice meditation, when we practice sadhana, the mind produces mental tranquility, gentleness, silence, discipline, and we purify ourselves through service. So actually even seva is a self-purification. When many Americans, Westerners used to come to Neem Karoli Baba's ashram. Many of them. Steve Jobs came. Mark Zuckerberg also, more recently, after Maharaji passed, came from Ramdas. So many Westerners used to come there. And one of the Westerners asked, how can I raise my kundalini? How do I raise my kundalini? He wants to become enlightened. And Maharaji said to him, go and feed the poor. And he's confused. So what do you mean feed the poor? Maybe you will teach me some special mantra or some practice to be able to raise my kundalini. Instead he said, feed the poor. Amazing. The last verse, we have, can you believe, walked through 17 verses of the Gita, one verse at a time. And the final verse I want to share is very important. It's 1863 of the Bhagavad Gita, one of the last verses. And I would love if we can chant it together. Iti te jnanamakyatam kuya kuyataram maya vimrisyeta raseseno yata ichasi tata kuru. One more time, please. Iti te jnanamakyatam kuya kuyataram maya vimrisyeta raseseno yata ichasi tata kuru. Shri Krishna said, I have declared this knowledge to you. This is more mysterious than any knowledge on earth. This is the greatest spiritual wisdom in this book. Arjuna, think about this wisdom very carefully. Deliberate upon it. Study it. Think about it very carefully. And then importantly, yata ichasi tata kuru. Do what you like. Listen to the freedom. It does not say, do this or go to hell. Do this, you will suffer. Shri Krishna is saying, study, digest it, think about it very carefully, and then yata ichasi tata kuru. Then you have the freedom. You choose. You decide what is the right course. Is it to live in Devi Sampad? Is it to see God and all beings, serve humanity, be a das in this world and serve others? You decide. So that freedom and free will for all is there. Very wonderful and powerful verse. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
जानते हैं, आप लोगों ने भजन मेरे से सुना होगा, मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लगता है। और आपकी जो ये आपका साथ था, आपका वे ऑफ टेलिंग था, क्योंकि आपने बताया कि गीता इज टू बिग टू बी एक्सप्लेन्ड इन 30 minutes or 30 days or 30 months. किसी के काम जो आए, किसी के काम जो आए, उसे इंसान कहते हैं, पराया दर्द अपनाए, उसे इंसान कहते हैं. And this is what you do, is to share love, feed all, serve all. So thank you. We got some traditionally what we do every Saturday with this. And then last verse you said, whatever you want to do, do it. And in the Ramayana, in the Sundarkam, I think in the second doha it says, प्रभसे नगर की जय सबका जा, हृदय राखी कौशलपुर राजा. So whatever you do, just keep God in your heart. I think this is what the essence of generally of all the verses, how you take it, how you and then how you receive it or receive the message. Before we finish, I would like to call Panditji to say something in Hindi for the betterment of some of the people, probably mainly through the recording. It will be going to many other people. So I would like to welcome Panditji.
In the 16th chapter, he told the freedom of anger. What mean when the Lord Krishna is saying? In the 16th chapter.
Freedom of anger. What does it mean?
In the 16th chapter, the Lord is Krishna saying, freedom of anger. What mean of that?
Akrudo, it means don't be
What
angry.
means the freedom of growth?
Yes, give up anger.
Yeah.
Don't practice anger. Don't get angry with anybody.
Thank you. Anybody else? Or let Panditji finish, and then if you still haven't got the answers, then please do ask, and that's the purpose of these sessions. Yeah.
Thank you very much, calling again. So I can speak Hindi or English both, so you can understand. So you already heard about essence of Bhagavad Gita from Hanuman Das ji. You know, Hanuman Das ji have lot of qualities. Something just like Hanuman ji. Hanuman ji also Sakal Gul Nidhan, so same thing, he have also lot of quality. But Hanuman ji doesn't have ego. Everything did Hanuman ji. He went to Lanka, he come back, and Ram ji told to Hanuman ji, you are did very good things. So Hanuman ji said, I'm nothing done it. So sab kachu pratap raghurai. You are everything. So you already heard about Gita. Still we have a question. Why is so important Gita for us? Because the Gita's first chapter starting from the Vishad Yoga. Vishad Yoga means the sorrow. You know, when दुख जो जितना ज़्यादा दुख होता है उसी को ही संस्कृत में विषाद कहते हैं. तो विषाद योगो नाम, we have sorrow, and last chapter 18 the sannyas moksha yogo naam. So what Gita doing? Gita taking you from sorrow to give you salvation. So that's why Gita needed to us. And Gita have lot of things. Nothing they missed. Lot of Krishna, nothing missed. You know, Bhakti Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Karma Yoga, Sannyas Yoga, Moksha Yoga. Everything have in the Gita. So you know everything, and you know very well when Arjun gets sorrow, when he's faced the all family member in front of him, then he nervous. He don't know, he doesn't have any option what he have to doing. So after that, Lord of Sri Krishna started the Gita. So Gita is arising you from everything, from dullness, from sorrow, everything. Gita is protecting you, Gita is rising you. So that's why we need Gita. You know, like Gurudev once word says, ज्ञान गीता काज से वह मौत से डरता नहीं, यमराज उसकी भूल कर चर्चा कभी करता नहीं. So this is the very good thing. If you have Gita knowledge, then you are also protected from Yamraj. And Gita पढ़ो, गीता सुनो, प्यारे परम पद पाओगे, गीता के आशीर्वाद से भव सागर तर जाओगे. So one more thing, you have got benefit. So in the Gita have everything. And you know, Hanuman Bhaiya ji, he chanted one the mantra, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir, Brahmagnu Brahmadahutam, Brahmaiva tena gantavyam Brahma karma samadhana. So everything is the Brahma. Our Upanishad says, Jalam Brahma, Bhasmam Brahma, Annam Brahma, everything is Brahma. So if anyone says, I'm Gnostic, I'm Orthodox, so this is not right thing. You know, you are eating grain also Brahma. You are taking water, that's also Brahma. So everything have the Brahma, under the Brahma, and sun giving you energy, that also is God, that also Brahma. So Gita is very necessary for us. So we have to follow Gita. If we will follow Gita, Gita will give good knowledge, good karmas, and Sat Raj Tam, Sato Gud, Rajo Gud, Tamo Gud, everything will provide Gita. So if you will chant Gita, पाठ जो इसका करेगा, it means गीता का करेगा, पाठ जो इसका करेगा या सुनेगा ध्यान से, होगा अनुभव आत्मा भरपूर होगा ज्ञान से, करके अनुभव आत्मा का मुक्त वह हो जाएगा, भिक्षु ईश्वर गुरु कृपा से वह परम पद पाएगा. If you are following Gita, you will get, you are already getting lot of things. What the final destination, the Lord of Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. In the verse of 18, Lord of Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Braja. Aham Tam Pap Sarvebhyo Moksha Sayami Masucha. If you are leaving everything and you come to my under, then I will free from all the sin, and I will give you, which is the very rare things, which is the very rare course, that is called moksha. So I will give you the salvation from the world. So we have to follow Gita. We have to always follow Gita, because Gita, lot of the Hindu Sanatana scriptures here, they are written by Veda Vyasji, they are got from knowledge from the Dhyan. When they meditating, then they got knowledge. What the Gita is straight come forward from the Lord of Krishna mouth. So that is the very rare thing. So I would like to say, you have to follow Gita. If you will follow Gita, you will get lot of knowledge, lot of devotion, lot of dedication, and everything you can get from Gita. So Gita is very important for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Pandit, for rephrasing what Hanuman Prasad ji said. Thank you. Before I would like to call Ganesh Dasi, Kiranatri Auntie would like to say a few words, and then Ganesh Dasi, and then Aarti, and then most important part of the day is the food. Come on, Auntie. You, do you want to say something, isn't it? Do you have to say?
No, you said somebody else's name as well before me.
Yeah, no, I will come first, and then Ganesh Dasi will conclude.
I'm just saying something about the group. This group's life membership is 51, but we don't want to say membership. We just say friends of the group. And annual membership is £5. So if anybody is interested, we got Vijay today. He will issue you the receipts and give you the forms to fill in. And I thank you all my trustees, which is good number today. Yogita, Atul, Sudarshana Benji, Krishan Benji, and myself. So, and also Vijay, I'm annoyed with Vijay, Shekharji as well. So I think it's good number today. I really congratulate our committee today for attending this and making a good effort. My big thanks goes to all volunteers who have prepared the food. In between, and for those, Daksha, Patel, Sadhana, Shekharji, Krishna, Sudarshana Benji. Okay, I really thank you all for coming, and Hanuman Das ji who has delivered and given the journey of Gita. I really appreciate. Thank you very much all. Please don't go. First of all, we will do Aarti. After Aarti, there will be Bhandara. I would like you to, all of you to take the taste of our Bhandara, which volunteers has prepared. And there is a surprise item, which is homemade kulfi, which I made it and brought it for you all. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate for all of you to come in and make an effort to come to Mata Mandir. Thank you very much.
People have come from London, people have come from Northampton. I had a message around 10 past 7. He said we are leaving to pick some things from the temple being cooked. So it is so nice, so devotion. I think that is what is we need to learn from. And then आज मीनू आंटी आई हैं, आपका धन्यवाद. आपकी सेहत भी इतनी ठीक नहीं रहती है, पर and then you became member as well. And then I always have contribution from you because मंदिर आपके ही सहयोग से चलता है. जगदीश जी and डॉक्टर गुप्ता जी and सभी नाम मेरा ठीक नहीं है, but आपकी सेहत भी ठीक नहीं थी. And then we have discussed that we will do it downstairs. So thank you for of you for coming as well. And I would like to call Ganesh Dasi because he wants to conclude. Thank you.
I will try and speak in Hindi for all of you. पहले तो हमारी पूरी गोदानी टीम से जैसे हनुमान दास जी है, यश भाई है, जी भाई है, प्रकाश भाई है, शिवम जी है, मैं हूँ, हम पूरी टीम तरफ से आप सभी का इतना धन्यवाद करते हैं कि आपने हमारा साथ दिया डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में. आज जो सुबह डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन था तो किचन की लेडीज ने हम लोग के लिए मस्त गर्म खाना बना के भेजा है. संदीप भाई लेने आए थे. डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में 125 मील के ऊपर हमने बांटा है, वो स्नैक पैक के साथ, जिसमें हॉट मील्स भी था, क्रिस्प था, चॉकलेट था और बहुत सारा प्यार नमस्कार भी था सभी का. तो आप सभी का पूरा धन्यवाद. दूसरी बात यह है कि हनुमान जी है निकोलस सर्कल के साथ उसने 2 बुक लिखी है. एक है द पावर ऑफ धर्म, जिसमें धर्म में क्या है, धर्म का एक्सप्लेनेशन है. दूसरा बुक जो है प्राइड्स एंड विजडम ऑफ हिंदुइज्म. तो हिंदुइज्म के जो हिस्से हैं उसमें थोड़ा 72 वर्स में लिया है, एक्सप्लेन किया है. बच्चों लोग के लिए भी अच्छा है, आप सभी के लिए भी अच्छा है. तो अगर चाहे तो थोड़ा बुक्स पढ़ा है. लास्ट बट नॉट लीस्ट, अतुल भाई एंड द टीम, thank you very much for hosting us And our next distribution is scheduled in Birmingham for 18th of February, Mahashivratri. So we all welcome you to the distribution, which is going to happen in the building open markets next to the falafel store. I would just like to finish as we started with Panditji with 3 ohms. So we'll just finish with 3 ohms to conclude. Thank you. Thank you, Jessica.
Please stand where you are for the Aarti and then do you want to lead it? Or yeah. Can I have an Aarti as well? Thank you, Panditji, for your support. You are all the time. Thank you. We got this powerful gift, the power of Dharma and pearls of wisdom from Hinduism. So if you want to, I will keep that. I'm not going to give it. I will keep it in our library. If anybody wants to read it and then leave it. Or if you want to leave it, you can take it home and then bring it back. अरे नहीं आती कोई बात नहीं एक तो ठीक है आती नहीं ठीक है अच्छा आइए और यूनिट 3 ओके शशिकला आंटी आ गई है एक और आ जाए कृष्णा आंटी आ जाइए आंटी जी जी आप आ जाए एक आरती के लिए आरती कर लीजिए एक हे शारदे माँ हे शारदे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ हे शारदे माँ हे शारदे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ तू स्वर की देवी ये संगीत तुझसे हम हैं अकेले हम हैं अधूरे तेरी शरण हमें प्यार दे माँ हे शारदे माँ हे शारदे माँ मुनियों ने समझी दुनियों ने जानी वेदों की भाषा पुराणों की वाणी हम भी तो समझे हम भी तो जाने विद्या का हमको अधिकार दे माँ हे शारदे माँ हे शारदे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ तू श्वेत वर्णी कमल पे विराजे हाथों में बीड़ा मुकुट सर्प साजे मन से हमारे मिटा के अंधारे हमको उजाला का संसार दे माँ हे शारदे माँ हे शारदे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ हे शारदे माँ हे शारदे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ हमें तार दे माँ हरि ओम कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि
मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुड़ध्वजा मंगलम पुंडरीकाक्ष मंगलाय तनो हरि मंगलाय तनो हरि शुक्लां ब्रह्म विचारसार परमां माद्यां जगद्व्यापिनी वीणा पुस्तकधारिणीं अभयदां जाड्यान्तकारापहां हस्ते स्फाटकमालिकां विदधतीं पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदाम् ॐ द्यौः शान्तिरन्तरिक्षगुं शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्विश्वे देवाः शान्तिः ब्रह्म शान्तिः सर्वगुं शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः सामः शान्तिरेधि शान्तिरेधि ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति 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 बोलंबे मात की जय जगदम्बे माता की जय सरस्वती मैया की जय सभी देवी देवताओं की जय 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 श्री राम